Welcome everybody to the April meeting of the Town Council Planning Committee. First I've had an agenda 21284, apologies for absence to no apologies for absence. We have apologies for absence from Lewis Curdale. Dale's voting to approve them. Seconder, all in favour? Thank you. 21285, disclosures of interest to receive declarations of interest from councillors on any items on the agenda. Anybody tonight? No?
Yep.
Oh, Steve, I didn't tell you to start, did I? But you've started.
No, I quickly whipped in there, but as you said.
To receive written requests, have we received any written requests, Nicola? No? So we can't receive and consider any requests, right. 21286 minutes to approve the minutes of the meeting and on Tuesday the 8th of March 2022. They've always circulated previously.
Are you proposing them, Councillor Hepster? I'm seconding them.
Seconded, all in favour, please show. Yep, thanks. And there's no members of the public, so I can go straight on to 21228. Any notified planning panels?
No.
Limited any, with nothing of fire. 21289, well you've all seen Nicola's provided tonight an updated sheet, which is thanks again to Nicola for doing this on a regular basis.
Can I just comment, Chair, please, that 4 of our approvals were refused,
Yes.
and 2 out of the 3 of our refusals were approved, and that the one that we asked to go to panel has been withdrawn.
It's been withdrawn, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I thought that was. What do we gain from that?
We gain from that.
No, what intermission do we gain? You know, are we right? Are we wrong? Is there any lessons to be learned?
Well, maybe we need to look at the planning officers' reports, judgments, as against ours, because it's 3-4, wrong way.
Oh.
So maybe as a desk exercise, it'd just be to look at those particular ones and the reasons and see if we can make any sense out of it.
Okay.
so which ones then?
Well, I don't think David was suggesting now.
No, I'm not saying now.
No.
We just do a desk exercise on this particular 3 and 4, where they've gone the other way round, and we'll just look at what we said and what they said and see if we glean anything from it. In case we're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah. Well, we can look at that, can't we, David? Yeah, thanks. We'll look at that. Right, 21290, consideration of clarifications number 1, 22/00839, David.
21 what?
22/00839, 27
Yeah, no, I was flipped onto the wrong page, that was all. Right. You might have known when you've been looking at your applications that the public comments have disappeared.
Yes.
That is Bradford Council's decision and something they attribute to GDPR.
It tells you how many comments there are in brackets.
It does,
Yeah, it
but
does.
you can't.
Yeah, I know.
You can't look at them to judge what the local mood is
No.
per se.
Do we
Particular.
know, this is not part of me. Do we know why they've suddenly done it, David?
They
After
reckon it's
4
something
years?
to do with GDPR.
I thought it was quite useful, actually.
It was.
It was,
Maybe we may need to make a comment back to Bradford Council saying this is singularly unhelpful, particularly for us and the community to judge.
I thought it was quite useful, actually, the other way round, so that we're not pre-biased by the public perception of the locality, because we're charged with going there and looking at it and taking a view as individual planning committee members.
We are,
and
the public.
The public can as well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, but we have a statutory responsibility to make an informed comment, and we're not now being biased by a plethora of positives or negatives.
Certainly not, but if any councillor then wanted to represent a constituent, they wouldn't get the mood music of
No.
that.
Roz?
Well, also I would say that the point is about being a councillor is that even if you are aware of what local opinion might be on an issue, that you're also able to use your knowledge of the planning process to judge whether that is, NIMBYism or not, isn't it? So therefore,
yeah.
I think it's GDPR seems to be a bit of a spurious reason. I would imagine removing personal details perhaps from a comment might be reasonable, but the actual comment itself, if it doesn't give rise to any identification,
Exactly.
would seem to be reasonable, shouldn't it? So perhaps we ought to make that point.
Yeah, don't want to go on this
Well,
one
just
now.
earlier we had the Five Rise Locks Hotel and 400 and something comments on that, 5 of which were racist actually, and I protested about that, and I wonder whether that is this removal, because the local authority basically provides a platform like Facebook. You can write what you like on it. And when I protested about it, written to the city solicitor about it, the comments that were racist disappeared, no explanation. And I wonder whether it's a connection with this, because basically the comments are a platform for the public to say anything that they like on, whether it's legal or not legal.
Yes.
And so the council has got a problem because it's open, generally open, unless somebody says this is wrong, this is whatever,
They could
illegal.
redact or
Rachel.
remove.
It's a good point that you made there, but because the GDPR thing doesn't really stand, considering
doesn't.
it's sort of more equivalent to a social media platform where you can just write what you want. No one has to write anything if they don't want to. I wonder if we could, I know this isn't on the agenda, but I wonder if we could perhaps write to Bradford Council and ask for the comments
For the reason.
ahead of the meeting, but no personal information in there. Or is that going to be too much of an ask for them?
I'll have a word with, I'll talk to Nicola about it.
Yeah.
See what we can do. Nicola, yeah. See what we can
Because
come up with.
we can't. We do need to take into account
Yes, I
the
think we do.
public's opinion, don't we?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Absolutely, and often people making informed decisions can provide information because they live there, they know
Yeah.
about traffic issues, they know about something that might not be apparent from the planning application. And also, I take your point, Dale, about the Five Rise Locks Hotel, but on the other hand, I mean, I would say that although no racist comment is acceptable, but 5 out of 400, when it was such an emotive issue, comments, I mean, really, perhaps, but I think people's comments were what they said, and they could turn up a public meeting and say anything, couldn't they? So, really, I think that, I'm sure there is not a relationship between those two things, but I am concerned that people's comments are disappearing from the planning system. I think that's anti-democratic, and I think it's not helpful to the process, is it?
Right then.
Chair, then
We'll
should we bring
return
that back
the-
to the town council then, the main town council, I mean the council, and ask for a letter for an explanation from Bingley Town Council,
From Bradford Council.
from Bradford Council.
Well,
We'll talk about that, yeah.
we'll talk about that. I'll talk just with Nicola.
Okay,
Can we
thank
come
you.
back to planning case?
And
So
you'll advise us at the next meeting, will you?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Depends what I don't know, Dale. I'm not going to answer that. I don't
No.
It's not
You
on the
advise,
agenda.
Depends on how long it takes them to get
you
back.
advise the course of action at the next
yes,
meeting.
of course.
Yeah.
That's all. Sorry about diverting us off Clarendon Road.
We had all spotted it though, David.
Yes, well,
Yes.
just...
Right.
So, comments 0, because that's what I usually start off with. It's a subservient, in my view, extension. I don't have an issue with it. I'd be minded either to approve or no comment.
I recommend.
I'll second an approval.
So Dave's
Approve.
and all in favour? Approval? Thank you, yes. number 2 and number 3 actually, because I know I pass these to Steve. Number 2 is 22/00818.
Yeah, if we
And
take
number
these
3
two
is
together.
22/00818. So Steve.
Yeah, if we take these two together, the first one is reserved matter, which is the appearance and landscaping, and
Yeah.
the second one is actually the major application, which is to actually knock down the existing buildings of Stony Ridge Hospital and build.
It's already gone.
Is it already gone? And build. I haven't spotted that, but build 13 dwellings. I looked at the plan. I didn't have any issues with it at all. It's within its own boundaries. There are comments on there from West Yorkshire Police Combined Authority about security matters to do with the fencing around the back of it and anti-climb gutters and the usual warnings about new house building. I didn't spot anything about electrical points on the front or anything like that. So
I think that's a point of that. That's Bradford Council that tried to impose that.
Yeah, I
isn't
didn't
it?
see any comments about that. There were some drainage questions from the drains guy, but from a planning point of view, you know, I thought bring it on. It's someone refreshing the area.
Yeah, I look at it as well, and I thought as long as there's the consultee comments, as long as they're adhered to, you know, it's making use of a former derelict site. So
It is, isn't it? So, Steve, are you approving?
Yeah. Well, Councillor Barton wants to say.
And just to comment, it looks like off-the-shelf housing plans, and it looks like, and it is, no affordable housing on the site. 13 new units.
Yeah.
There is a percentage, isn't there, over a certain number you have to
Is
put
it
in
over
under
a
the
certain
local
number?
plan. But I don't know what the number is,
No.
but I'm sure Bradford will
could it be
inflict.
14? Perhaps.
I guess, but I'm sure Bradford will inflict it on it if it's part of the local plan.
I hope so.
So
Yeah.
Steve is approving it.
Yeah, second.
Rachel seconded. We're all in favour. Thank you, yes. That's number 2 and number 3. Nick. Number 4, 22/00660. Strange on this. If you remember, we approved putting the gazebo and the decking up. Bradford Council then refused it, saying it didn't look in. It wasn't in line with the rest of the street, etc., etc., etc. She's taken down the gazebo and has left the decking there. So I'm quite happy to approve it. I mean, goodness knows why they refused it in the first place. I don't understand
Are we
that.
deckings?
I don't know, I'm in two minds about this, Chair. It's bringing a habitation in front of the party line, the build
Yeah.
line, isn't it? But I don't know the area, so I
Yeah,
can't
but
say
the
whether
decking,
the
I
sun's
mean,
out
it's
the
not
front or
really-
the back. I don't know. I'm just here.
It's the area that was formerly the Working Men's
Yes.
Club, isn't it?
Yeah,
Right.
So it's a new build.
Yeah.
Well, newish.
I
I
can't.
thought the drawings looked a bit.
Yeah,
They were a bit crumpled up, but
Well,
didn't think anything wrong with it, to be honest.
well, I'm minded to approve it.
I'll second that.
Seconded, all in favour, please show.
I'm gonna abstain.
I'm going to abstain as well.
Abstaining.
Abstaining?
Yeah.
Oh. Mm.
So that was 3 approve and 3 abstain.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's approved.
So it's moved.
We'll strictly on.
Building line.
So, councillors abstain. Number 5, 22/01023. Disposal time.
Right, this is above the old Methodist church as you go to the far side of Eldwick, opposite the War Memorial. There's a comment from the conservation officer, although it's not in the conservation zone, it abuts the boundary and it's almost adjacent, or there's another house in between to the listed war memorial. They don't have an issue with it, so I'd be minded to approve.
Seconded.
All in favour? Yep. Brilliant, thanks. Number 6, 22/00863. I've had a quick look at this. It's going to be a freestanding coffee bar unit. Whether it be subject to vandalism there's a lot to be desired putting it down there, but there is a company that wants to do it. And
Sorry, I couldn't work out whereabouts it
far
was
side
going.
of platform, far side.
Platform 2.
Platform 2.
You
when
know,
you come
there's
down
the
the
vending
steps.
machine.
The Skipton side.
Yes.
Yeah, when you come
No,
down the
no,
steps.
No, it's the lead
left
side.
So going to Leeds.
Right.
Yeah, so you can have your coffee on your way to work.
Right.
Yeah, it's in that little lee by the lift doors where you've got vending machine already. Where the
The vending
metro.
machine is going obviously in the
Right.
and the other thing is going against the wall and they're putting that there, so
So there was the negative heritage statement, wasn't there?
There was
Yes.
a negative
It
heritage
really said
statement.
Yeah.
no.
I am minded to ignore that because there is a brand new lift right next to it with a
Yeah.
lift lobby and a lift modern structure on the top
Yeah.
of it. it's kind of. I understand where Mr. Ackroyd's coming from. It's it is a listed building. It wasn't listed by Metro Rail. It was listed by someone else. And if you look at the pavement outside on the car park, there's dodgy paving stones.
Yeah.
There's bits of tarmac filling in the paving stones. The heritage isn't being inflicted on the whole building as such, and it's not being inflicted around the area either. You look at replacement windows for a start. Some of those are not wooden replacement windows, as in the heritage. They are modern white UPVC. So it's okay to say, well, there was a negative statement there, but this building has already undergone some changes in the negative.
Significant changes.
As it needs to do if it's going to be a functioning railway station.
I mean,
I'd be minded to approve. Well,
I'll second it.
All in favour? Thanks. Because they've obviously got plans in to do the roof with an estimated cost of £6 million.
And they're going to be bringing those 2 retail units into being as well. So a lot of money has been spent there.
Yeah,
to
but the
make it
roof will be
attractive.
done, well, whenever. There's no day.
And the
£1 million-
flowers in the
£1 million
garden are great, aren't they?
£1 million.
It's really been presented well.
And a lot of that, it does actually say they've got to do this and got to do that. And
So the conservation statement on the actual redevelopment of the station's quite specific.
Yes, it is. But when that'll get done, don't hold your breath. Number 7, 22/01036. I think this is. This'll brighten it up, brighten the whatever the company is that's moving into it. It just says it's an investment company, but that can be anything. This is this new shop front.
Wasn't clear to me, Chair, as to what the new shop front was. The statement is all sort of what you might describe as vanilla. Non-specific, but the drawing shows what effectively is a disabled access, which I'm all for. But I wasn't aware that there was a 2 or 3 inch lip to it in the first place that this is overcoming. But if that's what it is, then the guy should have said so. It would have made it a lot easier to understand. But given that's what I think it is, I'm all in favour of it.
And it's better than what's there currently,
Yes,
which
it
is the
hoarding.
With the wood
shed
hoarding.
sort of hoarding thing.
Yeah.
So do you ever propose? Rachel?
Can I just ask with this one, I wasn't quite sure, are they just proposing changing the shop front so it looks more presentable, or is a business moving in?
They got a letter who's asking. They've got a
They're doing it on behalf of
they're
the
doing it on behalf of the
Okay.
tenant. There's
They
a
have a
tenant
client.
interested.
But we don't know what tenant it is, that's the
No.
problem,
No.
really.
No.
So I'm quite concerned about approving something when we don't know what the actual, business is going to be that's there.
I don't think that's in question, though, is
No.
it?
No, it's just a new
At
shop
the moment,
front.
it's just a bit of glass and some aluminium. So
And it will
there's
have
no change of use.
various uses under its existing planning
Yeah.
So
application.
David is approving it, and Steve seconded it. We're all in favour. There's 3 abstentions. 3. Number 8, 22/01045. Rachel, please.
Yes, so this is Castlefields Lane. There's a sort of a strip of semi-detached houses on there. So this is a single-storey extension. Looking at it, it didn't seem massively extensive. The only issue, one of the issues is that area does get flooding, and the drainage consultation appears to not have been sufficient. So they did recommend getting a full flood risk assessment. But other than that, I don't have an issue with it if people want to extend their properties a bit.
Is this the one with the car in the garage shown on the plan?
I can't remember.
Do you mind if I
Can't remember.
pop in and see if this works?
Let's do it.
Because if it is, I'm all in favour of it, because I think it's there for a reason. Proposed plan.
There is a flooding plan.
Yeah.
It's because that area floods.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not. There is one coming up which I'll reserve statements on. So yeah, no, it's just.
A lot of the houses on that street have sort of similar
I didn't
style
have any. I didn't have any
extensions,
issues.
so
with it.
I would propose
And-
So Rachel,
approval.
proposing approval, David seconding, who all in favour? Steve?
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
All in favour, thank you. Number 9, 22/00908, back to Rachel.
Yeah, I feel like sort of this might come over my pay grade a little bit. It was a bit bewildering looking at it all. So it's construction of quite a few industrial units. My expertise on industrial units isn't massive, unfortunately. But looking at the documents, there's a lot of consultees. I think if all those are taken into account, it should be fine.
My view is it's it's an industrial area in the local plan for industrial business. This is an extension of that.
Yeah.
I think, yes, it's a strip of land, needs to be developed, great, but there was an objection from the Environment Agency, their flood risk assessment is inadequate, particular in regard to a surface water drain which goes through the site.
Yeah.
That's where it flags up to me that any additional water that's not soaking into the land but is just running off car parks and roofs and maybe goes into that, it'll fill Castlefields little hamlet up even faster. That is my concern. So I think without a an adequate flood risk assessment, we can't really judge it. And I think, in my view, there needs to be within that assessment something about attenuating water on site in heavy downpours, which I couldn't find anything about, and then releasing it slowly post flood or post downpour.
Exactly what I was going to say.
So,
I'd be minded to refuse regarding the flood risk assessment, and from our view there doesn't seem to be any mention of water attenuation on the site to prevent flooding further down
you are
Castlefields Lane.
recommending refusal on those grounds. Do we have a
grounds,
seconder
yeah.
for
Yeah,
that,
second
please?
that.
Yes. All in favour? Steve?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Don't know.
All we need to do is put some tanks in and job's done.
Number 10, 22/01172, again another strange one. They haven't actually done anything with it, although it says it was started in July last year and finished in September last year. It's finished, well, it beggars belief really, so...
But it is a replacement, though, Chair.
Yeah, they
It's
haven't
a-
done
it-
anything.
it-
Well,
it's a building that has been brought into.
Yeah, but it says it's retrospective, Steve, and you don't
Yeah,
actually
no, I
look
get
as
that,
though
but it
they've
was a
actually
building
done
that was
anything.
already there. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. They haven't built anything. They've
No.
just upgraded
Oh,
it.
so was the garden room already there?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. There's one similar next door.
Right.
So all they've done is the next door is timber. This one has been upgraded. So someone's pointed out they needed planning permission, basically.
I
No.
recommend
No comment?
no comment.
No
I'm
comment?
proposing no comment.
I'll second that.
All in favour? You. Number 11, 22/01179. Well,
Yes, so this is on Warren Lane, not so just along from the roundabout, and it seems really straightforward and really understandable, and I'd just recommend it for approval.
okay. Do you have a seconder?
Can I just make one little comment
Yes.
first? Now, I know we've all been looking at comments and they've disappeared. This property has a history of 9, so one might expect 9 things in the history. There isn't, there's only the current one. So you have no idea what they have done before. They might have put the same thing in. I'm not saying it for this one,
No.
but it might have been refused last time and the time before. So for some reason, and I think we need to tease this out while we're talking with Bradford Council about the comments, is why is the property history missing? Because it can actually give you, and we have looked at property history previously here,
Yes. Yeah.
and actually used the same refusals that had been for refusal previously as our comments.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
it's a
didn't-
worrying
yeah.
trend.
I didn't. I mean, I think it's a very good point. I didn't look at history because there wasn't any. But I just looked at the actual planning application,
yeah,
the drawings
yeah.
that were provided,
Yeah.
the proposed extension, the distances to the next property. You know, the usual stuff basically, and it didn't raise any red flags.
So
to
you'll
me.
be minded to approve?
Yeah.
Right, I'll second that.
Excuse me, Chair. If this is the one we're talking about, which I think it is, up on the screen here, is single sort of 184 Warren Lane.
Yeah.
To my mind, there is no plan in there for us to approve.
There is.
Well,
If you go to existing site plan, it's 21 pages, Steve.
oh, is it?
Yes, they've sent one document.
My
Right?
apologies.
Yeah,
No, I didn't
There's-
spot that. I just thought, well, hang on.
There's a second one as well, and I
Yeah.
think it might be the same architect because it's the same style, and it's all on one document. It's
well,
huge.
that mugged me then.
Yeah.
Apologies
Yeah.
to
Right.
onlookers. Yeah.
So we have recommended approval. We have
So there's
second
two
there.
comments there, isn't there?
Yes.
All in favour? Rachel?
Abstain.
Abstaining? Number 12. 22/01271. Steve, I ask you to look at this one for me.
Yep.
You.
This is a fairly standard gable conversion with front and rear dormer loft elevation conversion. Nothing going on downstairs, all upstairs in the
Yeah.
loft, and no problems at all.
Doesn't overlook anybody.
No.
No, so you're recommending approval?
Yes, I would do. Yeah.
I'll second that then. Are we all in favour? Thank you. Number 13, 22/01253. David, I ask you to look at
Hazelbeck, yep.
this, please.
It's a reasonable size extension within the property. I can't see any real issues with it. I'd be minded to approve.
Okay. I'll second that. All in favour? Yeah. Rod?
I'll just abstain.
And one abstention. Thank you. Now 14 and 15, of course, these were Lewis's, and I kindly asked Dale at the last minute to have a look. I don't know.
Yes, I've had a
Take
look.
14 and 15
Had
together.
two looks. This is some form of bank, isn't it? That had planning permission in 2016
Yeah.
to form a licensed restaurant and 6 apartments, and they put an extension at the back to provide access to the apartments in the building upstairs that's independent of the restaurant. Actually, I looked up the original planning application, and I consider that it's of the conservation team. I consider that due to its location at the rear, its impact will be minimal, and subject to careful control of materials, its impact on the conservation area will be neutral. Well, actually, they haven't carefully controlled materials. What they've done is they put up 2 rows of breeze blocks. What's between them, I do not know. Can't tell. And are now planning to rectify that with putting stone slips on that are glue those on that are 30 millimetres and size. You can see a specimen of them, and there's a picture of them actually on the to actually rectify what they've run up on the cheap. I'm pretty negative about this actually, Howard, because one, it is unclear that this building is thermally efficient. Now, I can't say that it is thermally efficient or it isn't thermally efficient, but if you've got access to 6 residences, which might as well be in the open air, that's not great. And secondly, they've taken a shortcut with building materials from the original planning permission. So, I think I'd be interested in what other people's views are.
Rachel.
Was this what was HSBC Bank?
Yeah, I believe
Yes,
so.
I think
It's not Barclays, it's down the road.
Midland Hotel, and then
The
it's
next
2
one.
doors down.
This is down, the staircase is down the back road.
Back of Dryden Street.
Yeah, back of Dryden Street, yeah.
And it
So there's going to be
doesn't-
nowhere for people to park,
it
is there?
doesn't look pretty currently.
Could look pretty though.
If they'd have built it right in the first place,
Did they have a requirement to build it in natural stone?
stone originally.
Oh, well, that's I don't know what the
That's what I'm saying.
subject to careful control of materials. Well,
Yes.
obviously haven't.
So what I'm kind of getting to is, did the planners know that this is what they were going to get, and they put a reserved matter in there to say, okay, you can do that, but we want to know what you're covering it with. And in this case, that's what they're delivering, the covering.
We'd have to look at the original
So
planning
I
application.
think I would rather leave this as no comment and leave it to the planners to figure out if this is a mess they've got themselves into or not. And I don't think the thermal efficiency is up for challenge if this is reserved matters on just how it looks. So I take your point, but
This is the one where the tree was lost, wasn't it? In
Yeah.
front of there was a beautiful cherry tree that just one night just disappeared.
what,
Just
back
got
at
cut
Dryden
down.
Street
No, on the
front.
on the front.
on the front. Oh, okay.
By the bus stop,
Yeah,
it
it
just
did, didn't it?
it
Yeah.
just disappeared, didn't it? And despite best efforts, Bradford Council just have never responded to that inquiry. So we could always ask them where the tree is.
That could have been a road traffic accident or whatever. Couldn't it? Could have been anything.
So, Steve, are you
wasn't,
proposing no comment?
I'm. It's not me. Who looked at it?
I did. I looked at it.
Are you proposing no comment, Dan?
Okay, no comment. I'll go with no comment, but it's not great.
I'll second
Second,
that.
yep. All in favour? Yep. Thank you. Oh, we lost. Oh, number 16, 22/01329. Ros.
Oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't know I was doing this one. I haven't looked at this
Well,
one.
this might be the one that I was talking
16
about.
Crossley View, Gilstead. Have you had a
Let's have a look.
19 Cross View. No, I
everything else,
haven't.
Steve?
I haven't
I've
looked.
looked.
At this one.
I've looked at all of them. So
I looked at this one as well. The only thing I thought was it looked okay, but I thought it did look like it was quite close to the boundary.
no, this isn't the one I looked at either. I did look at it, but it's not the one I was thinking of.
Sorry, I only did two, Howard. So I didn't
Oh,
do this
okay,
one.
right.
It's well, it's a wraparound extension.
It's a
If you
wraparound,
just
yeah,
look at the that's what it is. Sorry.
That looks quite close to the boundary, doesn't it?
So it is just a.
They're all a bit poked up, aren't they? There?
I didn't see any reason to.
And it
Yeah,
is single story.
Yeah.
Mm.
It is.
So,
Shall we make no comment, Chair?
I think perhaps no comment might be better. Unless have you got the drawings to show what the distance is to the boundaries?
No, that's it. Site location plan. That's a proposed
Proposed floor or proposed elevations,
elevation, proposed floor plans, those plans.
perhaps. Yeah.
That's it there. So there's a gap to the boundary down the dotted line on the left hand
So
side.
that's the gap there.
Yeah. And there's an existing garage to remove. This here
Yeah.
is the existing garage.
Which is
to
even
be
closer.
removed.
Which is even closer to the boundary.
Well, that's probably on the boundary. Yeah, but
So they've got a path downside, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah.
No,
So-
no comment.
I think
Dale
no comment.
proposing no comment.
Okay, I'll
You
second that.
propose no
Yeah.
comment,
Yeah,
yeah?
I propose no comment.
Steve seconded, all in favour? Yeah, everybody? Go. Number 17.
Let me just catch up back with this.
Yeah, 08/03031, land off.
Yeah, this is as you turn into Lady Lane on the left. There's a new housing estate development, should I say, not housing estate development. The front house is already there, so these are the houses down the back. As
Right.
to how do you drop down the hillside, and its materials, vehicle, pedestrian access, tree protection, and landscaping, and those details are all in there. So all the trees are named. It's all tarmac and briquettes, and the plan's quite extensive. I didn't have any issues with it at all. Looked quite detailed.
So yeah, proposing approval.
Yeah, the planning permission is already there. This
Yeah,
is the reserved matters to
reserve matters
do
on
with
the
it.
trees.
So yeah, I think they look like they've done a reasonable job to me.
I'll second that. So we're all in favour, please show. That's everybody, thank you. Number 18, 22/01197. David. 18.
Well, shall I help you out a bit? This has
Yeah,
been
it's a new one to me.
This has been out to us before, hasn't it?
Has it?
Down.
This house?
Yeah, this is up by Cottingley Bridge.
Yeah.
And it's down the side of Brook House, and there's land there, and it on the drawings it shows the dotted line of an existing planning permission of one big house. That one big house has now disappeared for 2 semis and a detached. So they've gone for 3 dwellings smaller on the same grid lines, if you like. So I just think it's a commercial decision that someone's making there.
Is that area a bit floody?
It's
It depends.
On the edge,
It depends on the elevation. I don't know is the honest answer. It's not as low down as the ones that you get to.
Airview Avenue.
Yeah, it's not Airview Avenue, and it's not the other one down by the garage up opposite Nabwood. That one that
Branksome.
one that one's down there. I can fire it up on here if you want to see it.
Probably a good idea, because the other question, Steve, was actually access to the road.
Yeah.
And it's a dodgy road, and you're putting
Yeah,
three houses on it.
Yeah, that's been covered in the past, though, isn't it? With the Airhead, the hairdressers there, that came up for extensive.
Yeah.
So there's flood risk assessments and drainage strategy, flood zone levels, proposed this, that, and the other. So if I show you the proposed site plan, that should illuminate what we're talking about. Yeah. So the dotted blue line, turquoise line here, is the existing planning permission.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the existing house, and that at the moment is just wasteland. So they've got plans there for 3 houses.
So where's the access, Steve? How do you
Here,
get in?
this is the road.
Right.
See if I can show that a bit clearer. Yeah. So this is the main Bradford Road. Right. So there's already access. That is already a road there, and this building exists. I don't know, is that Airbridge House, or it's not? Certainly not Airbridge. Not the Airbridge House, but this hedge exists, and this landowner goes into there, and I don't know who owns this or what, but they have a previous planning permission for it, and they're making some commercial judgments, I see.
And did we approve the last?
No idea.
Shall we make no comment on it?
No comment.
I would propose no comment.
Yeah, I
We have a
don't have any
second
issues.
for that.
I don't have any issues with it either way, so no comment would be fine by me.
A second for that.
Yeah.
Yep. All in favour?
So is that no comment?
No
Yeah,
comment.
there's no comment right, so yes.
Nicola.
Nicola, number 19, 22/01547. Rose.
Yeah, so on first glance, this looked sort of straightforward, if a bit big, really. But when I walked past it, and I realised that there's a really lovely dry stone wall that goes along it, that leads up to quite an older sort of 19th century house that has a big garden on the other side. And unfortunately, the drawings don't make any reference to this wall, what's going to happen to it. And just a boundary is shown, so it's not clear whether this wall's staying, going, what's happening at all. And this side elevation with this new garage that they're going to put on, I mean, it would be pretty dominant, this side piece. This is the wall that down there. You see where that car is in that garage?
Yeah.
It just indicates a boundary, but it doesn't show really, is that the wall? It doesn't show the thickness of the wall. It's a big wall. It's a big dry stone wall that goes down, the whole length of that. It's a driveway, basically. To the left of the house is a driveway that leads to another big house that's set back from the road. So I was concerned about that. Also, it obviously mentions accessibility. There's a wheelchair shown next to the car.
That's the one I spotted. This is the one I referred to earlier.
But the levels on the drawing are really not clear. It's not clear where, from the other elevations, it's not clear what level you get into the house, how you get out of the house. I mean, it's just.
Well, that's how you get into the house here.
Yeah, on a step, isn't it?
Yeah.
Seems to be.
There from the front and there from the garage.
But the front elevations also, Steve. There are two lines at the bottom. They don't show which is the kind of the bottom of the house. There's kind of like what is something a foundation. It's just not really very clear. And so I just thought the lack of clarity really, and the concern about this dry stone wall, and also the likely dominance of this side wall. I felt that on balance, I would recommend this for
It's
refusal.
Oakfield, isn't it?
Oakfield, that's
Oakfield,
right. Yes.
yeah.
So you're recommending refusal on the grounds of?
Well, lack of clarity really. There's no information about what would happen to the dry stone wall, which run along that whole length of that driveway, and it's just indicated. You see on the map just as a line, isn't it? So are they taking the wall down?
it
That's what they're
says
doing.
boundaries, angles and dimensions to be checked by the main contractor prior to work commencing. That's a standard drawing nomenclature, that is.
But I
Yeah,
just
but it hasn't said whether they're replacing wall or
No,
not.
no.
it hasn't said what they're doing, and it is even if you just got up on Google, you'd see it's a nice looking wall, and it's near that old house, and it's on Primrose Lane, and you think, well, actually, it does
Part of the setting, isn't
Says
it?
all existing walls, boundaries and lintels or other structural items are to be confirmed load bearing and adequate for increased loading where relevant prior to work commencing.
But that's
So that's
talking
within
about
the building. That's
within
within the building.
It's not,
Yeah.
not the
yeah.
not the actual external
No,
boundary
okay.
wall. So and also I just like I say, so ostensibly when you look at it, you think, oh, this looks okay, but then when you look at it more closely, so there's no clarity around the wall. It's not clear about the levels and the accessibility issues, which I'm sure is something that could be easily sorted out. And I did have a concern looking at the side elevation that it was just going to be quite a big white or whatever colour they're going to do it elevation, maybe without this dry stone wall or perhaps with it. It's not clear. Are they taking down this wall to build this thing? I don't know. So I would
So-
recommend it for refusal on those grounds, basically.
Have you got that, Nicola?
I have got most of that, yes.
Yeah.
I might just clarify the wording.
Right, Ross is recommending refusal. Do we have a second for that, please?
Second
Dale?
that.
Are we all in favour then, please?
I'm going to abstain.
And I'm abstaining.
I'm abstaining.
3 and 3. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Howard, can I just clarify if it's 3 abstentions and 3?
No, it's 3 no voting, so it's a
It's-
rejection. It's 3 and 0. It's not
So
3 and
not-
3, is
The
it?
proposal was to refuse, which got
Yeah.
3
There's
votes.
3
Yeah.
votes and
Yeah.
3 people were abstained on voting, so they
So is
didn't
it
vote.
still-
It's not 3 against.
It's not
If
3
it was 3
against.
against,
Yes,
it would be.
they're casting votes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
So
I
it
didn't
is
know if
approved.
I didn't
It
know
is
if only
approved.
4 votes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry,
Make it-
it's disapproved.
The motion is
refused.
The
approved.
motion is
It's
approved.
approved.
and
The
rejected.
motion
To
to
disapprove
refuse
is
is
approved.
approved.
Disapprove is
Yeah.
approved.
So it's passed that
It
we
is
voted
passed.
refusal on that.
Yes.
Yes.
And when it comes back with a
Right,
big
that's okay.
past on
Yes.
Bradford Council, you'll go,
The 3 of us will go, ha!
ha ha.
There's no- Right, okay, sorry.
Yes,
just
please.
clarify that.
Right, moving swiftly on. 21/22/91. Have we had any updates on Greenhill, Milner Fields,
No, nothing.
or Air Valley Incinerator?
No.
And on that note, then, I thank you all very much for attending, and note that the next meeting, Tuesday, 10th of May at 6:30, and it will be the last meeting of this current year.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you, Howard.